those kind of for targets. What we're going to do here, if you look at it, we actually have.
Sorry.
No worries.
It says 2 sets of 3 reps, and it's an S behind it, and then /1Q. That means 2 sets of 3 where we stick the landing, and 1 where we go as quick as we possibly can. And then as we go through it, we'll kind of have, by week 3, we'll do 2 where we stick the landing and 2 where we go quick, and by the weeks 5 and 6, we'll be doing 3 quick and only sticking 1. So when we say stick the landing, we just want to jump to the dot and stick the landing kind of like a gymnast would at the end of their routine. So we want to kind of bend the knee, absorb the shock. We want to control the knee from wiggling around. And we're just going around, getting a pause between each jump. So after we do that, this first one we do that 3 times, and then the quick ones, we want to stay on the front of the foot and get as much spring in the ankle as you can, and we'll just go as quick as we can around it. So we just want that quick pop of the ankle. All right, so if you look on here, these are about 2 feet apart, the lines. Yeah, this is about 7.5 feet in the middle here, so we got about 11.5 to 12 feet. If you look again here, we have a rest time of 30 seconds in between. And again, we have like the S and the Q in there. So the first 3 weeks we want to stick the landing, and then the final 3 weeks we want to go as quick as we can. So we're going to start on the outside. We want to hop in between this first set of tape. Our second hop can actually be out further into the middle, and we're going to bound to the outside. This is actually, we're trying to get the momentum created horizontally, so we don't want to hop high. So we want these quick ankle pops, and we want to stick the landing on the outside. We want to go as quick as we can in the middle. So we want those quick ankle movements. And then when you bound, you actually want to, we call it triple extension. Extend at the hip, knee, and ankle. So you're kind of jumping and really extending all those joints. So if we were going to go quick across, you just kind of go the other way as quick as you can. So you just try to change direction. So when it says 2 times 3, that's 2 sets, and we'll have 2 sets facing each way, and 3 times down and back. It's the same exact thing, but now we're going forward. So when we go forward, we still want to keep our momentum going horizontally. We're in the sagittal plane, we don't want to hop high. Same thing, we're hopping, and then bounding to the other leg. So we got a little pivot. So the goal of this one, when you bound, we want to try to stabilize the knee in the front. We don't want to see it wiggling around. We want to be in a nice, kind of low squatted stance.
Good?
Yep. We have the shuffle sprint agility ladder here. We're just going to have the cones placed about 2.5 feet apart, so if you get the 10-foot line, it's easy to place them. It's going to start in a low stance, and we're going to try to keep the feet wide and move at the ankle. So we're just kind of doing a shuffle, getting past the line, and then the last one you're going to sprint 10 feet through. And we'll do that when we have facing each way 2 times. So it says 2 times each side on there. All right, so we kind of have a similar one here. With this sprint back pedal agility ladder. So we're going to start here behind the line. Same thing, we're just looking, change direction as quick as we can. or finishing through the 10-foot line. So the back pedal pro agility, it's a pro agility drill. We're just going to start with a back pedal. Once you get to the 10-foot line, we're going to sprint to one side of the court, sprint across the court, and then back through the middle.
Go, Steve. We need to get our look.
Court's a little slight. The 4 bounding lunge. We're really going to start in a low stance here, so the knee's going to be right over the heel. Shoulders will be right over your hips. Opposite arm up. And then from here, you're going to explode out of it. So the goal is when you land, we want to keep that nice posture. So we don't want to see the shoulders going forward or the knee traveling forward. The angle bounding lunge here, we're in the same thing, but now we're going to kind of have almost a side angle lunge. So you want this heel right in front of this toe, but off to the side, and we're going to pivot the leg in. So now we got the shoulders over the hips. This foot is pointed fairly forward, and then we're going to explode out kind of like you're speed skating here. So we kind of use the arms, exploding out. Again, just trying to keep the shoulders right over the hips. This one is a side-to-side squat and bound, so we're just going to use the outside of this court, this thick line here. You're going to squat down as low as you can, and then from here, you're going to really flick the ankle, extend the knee, and the hip. So we always want some kind of movement. You're either coming out of it or sinking down, kind of like a spring. Suicide, we're just actually sprinting 10 feet, turning back, sprint 20 feet back, 30 feet back. A lot of times if we're on a volleyball court, we just tape a line halfway between the 10-foot line and the end line, and we just use the 10-foot lines in the center line. So.
She could put a cone there or something.
Tapes. All right, the back toss here, you just use a med ball. You could really use anything from like 6 to 10 pounds. The main thing that we're trying to do is what I've kind of talked about before, is getting that triple extension. You want the hips to extend, the knees to extend, and then the ankles. So really in the air, both your feet, after we jump and throw this ball, you should feel kind of lock out, like your butt will actually contract and squeeze because your hip locks out. You'll feel tension behind the knee, and then you'll feel tension in the ankle as you jump. So with the back toss, you just start. Back toss, you just start with the ball over your head, a wide stance, feet outside the shoulders. Keep your back nice and tight. You'll come down, throw it over your head and extend it. Make sure it gets over your head.
So 6-pound bowling balls are out of the question.
What's that?
6-pound bowling balls are out of the question.
Yeah, they'd hurt about as much as these when you get a 10-pound ball. Okay, so the next one, let me just make sure. So the med ball squat push toss, same exact thing. We want that triple extension through the lower body. This time the ball is going to be in front of us, hands on each side of the ball, feet outside the shoulders, go into that squat, and then throwing it up. You kind of want to finish with like a chest pass in basketball, pushing it out. Med ball oblique chop toss. This is just kind of explosive power through the core, but really through the whole body. We're going to bring the ball up and over your head. We kind of want to arch the back, and we're going to push the hips forward as we crunch the upper body and toss it down towards the ground. So we're here. We do the same thing on the opposite side. Just don't hit your foot.
Nice to hear that.
So the 3-line agility, you can, if you have something to time you can go about 10 to 12 seconds on this drill. If you don't have something to time you can just go there and back about 8 times. From here, we just really want to make sure that we're taking like quick steps and we're not hopping. So when we actually go through this drill, we'll be stepping over these lines like this. We won't actually be getting both feet off the ground at one time. So from here, we just quick steps. And as we go through this, you want to really concentrate on when you get to the outside to move back quickly the other way.
Okay.
And the 3-cone drill, we do this a lot with a coach behind the cones or even another player. If we were starting on this side, the coach would just point to a cone and you sprint to it. After you get to the cone, you just backpedal. At any time, they could point to another cone, so you have to quickly react to that. Just to build speed, we'll do the same exact thing. We'll be behind this line, so we can be about 10 feet from the cone, and we're just going to knock out quick forward back. And once we backpedal, we'll only go about halfway back. So if we start out, so the multi-direction agility, we usually just use the back end of the court here, from the 10-foot line to the baseline, and we actually only use half of it. We just throw a piece of tape down in the middle for your start position. We're going to start with a back pedal to the end line, sprint forward, sprint to the angle corner, sprint back, shuffle to the side, back, sprint angle, back, sprint forward, and then finish back through our start position.
Good play.
So the kneeling high knee jump here, just going to start in that lunge position, knee over the ankle, shoulders over hips, opposite leg up. We're just going to come straight up with a jump. Our goal is when we get up, we want to have that triple extension. You really feel it in the ankle as it extends. We want this knee up as high as we can. We got knee tuck jumps. This is just really looking to get quick spring off the ground. Just make sure the knees are coming up in front and the heels are in front as opposed to behind towards the butt.